Commerce Banking 2. Banking continued. How to withdraw money from a current account. A person wishing to withdraw money from his current account must draw a check and show the date, name of payee, amount, signature, etc. Check. A check is a written order by a bank customer authorizing his bank to pay a specified sum of money to a named person. A check may be drawn open or crossed. Format of a check. Commerce Banking 2. Amount in figures and in words. Drawer signature. Name of payee. Drawee name of the bank/branch. Drawer's account number. 2 panel lines on the face. Parties to a check. Drawer is a person who writes and signs a check, i.e., a person demanding. Payment account holder. Drawee is the bank on which the check is written. Payee is a person to whom the check is addressed. At times, a drawer can, at the same time, be the payee. Part A refers to the counterfoil or check stub. Part B is the check leaf. Advantages of paying by check. 1. It is very convenient and saves time. Writing a check takes little time than Commerce Banking 2. 6. A check facilitates easy transfer of money from one bank to another without money physically leaving the bank through the clearing house. 7. A check acts as a receipt once it is cancelled. It is evidence that money has been received and no further receipts are required. 8. The counterfoil in a checkbook acts as a record of payment for the drawer. Disadvantages of paying by check. 1. Restricted to only those who have bank accounts. 2. Used by only those who can read and write. Literates. 3. Failure to access cash immediately, especially of post-dated checks. 4. Possibility of dishonoring it, unlike cash, which is a legal tender. 5. Check takes time to mature. 6. Is risky in case of a bare check. Once it is stolen, cash can be withdrawn. Types of checks. Open checks. These are checks payable across the counter and may be made payable to anybody holding the check or to a named person or his order, i.e., to anybody else whom the payee may name. An open check may be Commerce Banking 2. A bare check may be made payable to any person who may possess it. In this case, nobody is named on the check as payee. It is expressed as pay cash or pay bearer. This type of check does not require endorsement when being transferred to another person. Endorsing a check is when a person named on it transfers the right to receive money against it to another person by signing his name and putting the name of the new payee on the back of the check. Note, the one signing/endorsing is the endorser and the new payee is the endorsee. Cross check. A cross check is one that bears 2 parallel lines called crossings across its face. A cross check cannot be presented for payment across the counter. It must be deposited to the bank, which enables it to trace the payee. Crossings may be general or special. General crossings. These may take the following forms. Just 2 parallel lines with no words between them. Commerce Banking 2. B2. Parallel. Lines with words and a company between them. These words, however, do not have any significance. See 2 parallel lines with or without the words and company, but with the words not negotiable between them. The words signify that though a payee named on the check can transfer the right to receive money against the check, the new payee endorsee will not have a better title to the check than the original payee himself had. So, it should not be endorsed to another person in settlement of his debt. This means that the payee cannot endorse the check to another person, but the money should be paid to the payee's account only named on the check. Special crossings. Special crossings consist of 2 parallel lines with the name of the bank and branch between them to which it should be presented. Commerce Banking 2. The words not negotiable and account payee only may be added to a special crossing to make it more effective. Special crossings may also be used to indicate the amount payable against the check, i.e., writing between the crossings the amount e.g. not exceeding SHS 400.0. Making alterations on the check. If the drawer wishes to change anything on the check, he must write the alterations above clearly and sign his full signature above the alterations. For example, opening a cross check. If the payee has no account on which he can be paid using a crossed check, or if the drawer wishes to obtain cash from the bank and yet all his checks are printed across, such a drawer may cancel the crossings by Hey Cab or Derek. Dick. Commerce Banking 2. Stamping the face of the check with the words crossings cancelled, please. Hey Cash, etc., followed by his signature. 3. Traveler's check. This check is issued by the bank in fixed denominations to a person or businessman who pays for it in advance. Traveler's checks are issued to those customers making many journeys to enable them avoid carrying large sums of money in cash. A small service fee is charged. The bank issues a traveller with check leaves and asks him to sign them in the presence of a bank officer. When presenting these checks for payment, the holder must countersign the checks in the presence of an officer of the paying bank. The two signatures will be compared, and if found similar, payment would be made against check. A person may also be called upon to prove his identity. This makes travellers' checks very safe because if stolen, they cannot be cashed. Commerce banking 2. Terms used to describe checks. 1. Stale check. This is a check that has not been cashed within 6 months from the date it was written. Such a check cannot be accepted or honoured by the bank. It is an expired check. 2. Post-dated check is a check presented to the bank before its maturity date. 3. Stop check is a check to which the drawer instructs the bank not to honour, e.g., if he discovers the check was stolen, he can instruct the bank not to effect payment. It is a check for which payment has been stopped by the account holder. 4. Blank check is a check which is incomplete, say missing the amount, date, or signature of the drawer. Blank checks are risky because someone may fill them and withdraw more money from the drawer's account. 5. Forged check is a check with a forged signature or amount, making a check secure. Always make crossings on the check because such checks cannot be cashed across the counter. They are always deposited in a bank and only cast by the person to whom they are made. Never leave unnecessary gaps between words and figures when writing a check. Avoid signing blank checks because these tempt people to withdraw more money than they should have. Always report loss of checks to the bank or police as soon as possible. Always keep the checkbook locked in a safe place to avoid loss. The drawer should ensure that his signature is not easy to forge since an imposter can counterfeit it and withdraw money from his account. Commerce banking 2. This is when the bank refuses to effect payment against a check. Circumstances under which a check may be dishonoured. If the drawer has insufficient funds on his account with the bank. If that check is dishonoured for this reason, it will be marked insufficient funds or R/D. When the drawer is insane or dead or bankrupt. When the drawer instructs the bank not to honour the check. If the check is stale, i.e., presented 6 months after the date on it. When the check has an error on it, e.g., the amount in words and figures due not agree. In case the check is post-dated, i.e., if the check is presented for payment before the date on it or before maturity. If the drawer has closed his account with the Drawi Bank. If the check is not signed by the drawer or if the account has 2 signatories, but the check is signed by 1 person instead of 2. In case there are alterations on the check and are not countersigned by the drawer himself.